awesome, right there. But that is one real good reason why you throw a popper, baby. That is why you throw poppers. That is why you throw poppers right there. Look at that. The popper cannot be beat, guys. Fish a popper. I'm telling you, the results, they absolutely cannot be beat. There she goes. Yes! Popper, baby. Woo! Hey folks, Captain Mikey from SawGrassBassin coming to you for KastKing. Ah yeah, another beautiful spring day. You know, spring is definitely my favorite time of year. The days are getting longer, the water's getting warmer, the bait fish are just starting to spawn, but most importantly, those big beautiful bass, they're getting active. To me, springtime means one thing and one thing only. It's topwater time, baby. Springtime topwater. There's nothing greater. It doesn't matter if you're brand new to this game or you've been fishing for a long time. Nothing beats an explosive topwater strike. It can be exhilarating. My all-time favorite topwater, nothing beats a popper. It has got to be the most deadly topwater bait ever. It was probably the very first topwater bait you threw. And most likely, it's probably the last topwater bait you even think of throwing today. It seems to get overlooked, and I have no idea why. They've been around forever, and they really haven't changed that much. Because what's the change, guys? They're just awesome. In the right conditions, nothing can beat a popper. I'm going to show you guys why. Every time I go out to fish topwater, a popper is the very first lure I throw every single time. And most of the time, I'll throw that popper all day long. Let me show you how to put a little pop in your topwater. Hey, check it out. There are fish back here. Throw this little popper around just to try to see what's here, if there's anything here, and sure enough, this little bass grabbed it. Look at that. Big mouth for a little guy. And he wanted that popper. That's why I throw a popper to start. There's nothing better to find out if topwater's gonna work and what kind of topwater than a popper. What we're gonna do with this popper is I'm actually gonna try to get nice and close to a lot of this structure. And I'm gonna work it a little differently than you would traditionally work a popper. A popper is just such a versatile lure. You can work it extremely slow. You can work it quick. You can really target isolated cover a lot better with a popper than you can with most other baits. A buzzbait is a great topwater, but it's gotta keep moving. A stick bait, like a spook or the walk the dog style baits, they cover a large area. A popper can literally sit there for long periods of time and still be effective. You can literally have a popper just sitting there and it will get strikes. That's the beauty part about a topwater like this. You don't have to keep it moving. You can stop, and a lot of times that stop is what attracts that bite. If you have a feeling there's a bass holding tight to that little log or to that piling or whatever it is, you can literally stop it, leave it in that spot, and just start walking the dog with it. Did you know you could walk the dog on a popper? Absolutely. A popper walks the dog extremely well. Poppers don't have the walk the dog style that your typical walk the dog baits do. Baits like the spook, they have that big, wide walk the dog. You really got to keep a lot of constant action to keep it going. It covers a ton of water. They don't sit in one spot very well. But that's the advantage to walking. A popper though, they really sit on their butt and they just do that quick side to side. So you can find that tight little pocket in between the weeds or right up against the piling of a dock or right up against the lay down or that small isolated patch of grass that you believe is holding a bass. Work it, pop it, chug it, whatever you want up to it, and then stop. Leaving it there 10, 15, even 20 seconds sometimes, giving those bass a real good chance to take a real good look at it. But you can do those little twitches, leave it in one tiny area here by just flicking just that tiny little bit of slack in the line. I made that thing go side to side, back and forth, and it probably only covered about 6 inches of water. Oh, there's a better one. There's a better one. Woo-hoo-hoo! Poppers, baby. Gotta love it. Oh, yeah, these are nice fish. There's a nice one. Poppers on the spinning rod. Woo-hoo-hoo! Check this out, guys. This is a beautiful fish. That is awesome right there. But that is one real good reason why you throw a popper, baby. Right there. Solid,
beautiful fish. Woo! That's what we like to see. Ha ha! Popper, baby. All right. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for coming to eat my popper. Woo! Ha ha! Let's get another one.
Is color important? Actually, color is probably the most important thing. A popper is one of those rare lures where you actually want that bass to get a good look at it. You're moving it slow. You want that bass to really take a good look at it, really fall in love with it, and want to crush it badly. Most other lures, you're moving them quickly. You're trying to fool that bass and trying to get at kind of a reaction strike. You're not really looking for that exact same reaction strike with poppers. You're looking for a trigger. It's not just a reaction, but a trigger.
So those little subtleties on the color of your popper are actually quite important.
The bottom color I pick is whatever color the sky's going. If it's a bright, clear, sunny day, you're gonna want a little color to there. If it is a duller, darker day, or you get into the evening, then white starts to work a little bit better. The side pattern and the color on your popper is extremely important.
As this thing goes along, it goes down, it goes side to side. They're seeing almost an entire lure. And at times it goes underwater, they're even seeing a bit of the top. So the actual pattern and colors of these poppers are extremely important.
So how do you choose the color on your popper? Start off by choosing your colors just like you would any other lure presentation. The color, the clarity of the water, matching the hatch to what kind of bait fish you are seeing in the water, if it's shad or if it's bluegill, something that's going to really represent their favorite bait fish.
Now, how do you know if your color is not correct? If you're finding you're getting a lot of follows or short strikes or swipes at it, but no, they're not actually grabbing it, you're almost there. You got their attention, they want it, but they're not committing to it exactly. And that's probably your color. You've had 2 or 3 misstrikes, swirls, things like that. Change your color.
Just by switching the color a little bit is probably what's going to get them to really fully commit.
Oh, there's another one. Another one. Oh God, another good one too. Woo-hoo-hoo. That one went for the walk the dog style. Woo! Popper, gotta love me a popper. Oh yeah. Popper bass, popper bass, popper bass. Gotta love those popper bass. Just doesn't get any better than this, guys. There's another beautiful bass on a popper. On that popper, one more time. Woo-hoo-hoo. Awesome. And I'm just getting started, man. I'm gonna keep going. Huh.
You know, when you're working a popper, your gear is extremely important. What kind of rod you use, what kind of reel you use, and what kind of line you use. Everybody's gonna have their personal preferences on casting versus spinning gear. When I work my poppers, I always throw it on spinning gear. And I do that for a few very specific reasons. First of all, castability. Poppers can get pretty small. Some of them can be pretty darn light. Some of those ultra light little poppers, they can be a little more difficult to deal with when you're talking with casting equipment. You really have to get that casting equipment dialed in. You got a lot more adjustments to be able to cast those lighter lures as far or as accurately with your casting equipment. With my spinning equipment, there's no adjustment needed. It's flip and fire every time. Number 2 reason why I throw poppers on spinning equipment, 100% of the time when I throw a popper, I'm throwing it on mono line. Mono floats. Mono floats. We're talking a topwater lure that stays on top. Fluorocarbon, it sinks. Most of the time, you're gonna be working these poppers really slowly. You don't want that line to sink below and start pulling the nose of that lure down underneath, making it dive under the water and totally ruining the presentation altogether. Now, braid also floats, but the difference between braid and monofilament has a little stretch to it. And that is a huge advantage when you're talking lures with these sticky little treble hooks on them. These are small hooks and they're easy to pull out of that fish's mouth. That little extra stretch that's in that monofilament keeps those hooks firmly planted in that fish's mouth a lot easier. Braid has 0 stretch to it and it's a lot easier to pull those hooks right out of the fish's mouth. Monofilament floats and stretches. It's the perfect pairing for poppers and spinning equipment. what you want on a topwater lure like this with these small treble hooks, you want a rod that's got a good flex to it, a nice parabolic bend to it. So all spinning rods have that soft parabolic bend. It's not going to whip back too fast. When that fish jumps, or when that fish makes a run at you, anything too stiff is going to snap back too fast and possibly pull those little trebles right out of that fish's mouth. Not the soft power of a parabolic bend that you find in spinning rods. Spinning rods have that beautiful bend. They keep that even pressure on that all the time, coupled up with the little bit of stretch that monofilament gives. It's pretty hard for a fish to spit a popper on spinning equipment. And when it comes to gear ratio and speed, the speed of a spinning reel is perfect for poppers. A gear ratio of my KastKing Sharky 3, which I use all the time for my poppers, it's 5.3 to 1. It's the perfect speed to be able to go nice and slow, but it's got plenty of zip when I need to reel in real quick, reel up that slack, and set those hooks and drive it home. This is a 3000 series reel, strong enough to handle anything you're gonna get out here, no problem. It's got that awesome drag system, tons of drag, and I got that on a KastKing Royal Legend rod. This is a 7-foot medium fast action rod. And what that's gonna do is allow me to work that bait without a ton of effort. That rod is doing most of it. All I gotta do is that simple, tiny little flick of my wrist, and the rod tip with that whip is really what's giving that pop and what making that popper dance and doing its work. If you're using too heavy of a rod, too stiff of a rod, you're gonna really wear yourself out all day. You're gonna be getting more into a full jerking action of your entire arm and body, and it's just gonna wear you out, absolutely wear you out. So your equipment, what you throw in your popper on, is extremely important. And another one. Oh my God, huge fish. Big bass, guys, big bass. Woo! Oh my God, huge bass, come on the popper. Stay hooked, buddy, stay hooked. This is a big one. There's a giant. Whoa, man, there's our 5-pounder. Oh my God, guys, look at that. Woo! That is why you throw poppers. That is why you throw poppers right there. Look at that. What a pig. What a stud on the popper. The popper cannot be beat, guys. Fish it differently. Fish it fast. Fish it slow. Walk it. Whatever you got to do. Just fish it. Fish a popper. I'm telling you, the results, they can't be beat. They absolutely cannot be beat. There it is, guys. Fishing a popper. Man, what a stud. That's a 5-pound bass all day long. Woo-hoo-hoo! Yes! What a stud. Absolutely gorgeous. On that popper, baby. Woo-hoo-hoo! There she goes. Yes! Popper, baby. Woo! So there you go, guys. When it's springtime and the topwater bites on, there is nothing more deadly than the original, the iconic popper, baby. Hopefully I remind you how much fun a popper can be. There's a reason why poppers have been around forever. There's a reason why they're so iconic. Poppers are just phenomenal. My favorite, my go-to, the first I throw and probably the last I'll throw is always gonna be a popper. Reach deep into your bag, dust off your old poppers, get out there and hammer some big girls. Well, guys, I really hope you did enjoy this, and I hope you learned a little something. If you did, make sure you smash the heck out of that like button, and leave a comment for me on anything else you'd like to see me film out here. I'll do my very best to make a video out of each and every one of those. But most importantly, guys, subscribe to that channel. And if you're already subscribed, stay subscribed, because there's plenty more coming in SawGrassBassin's future. One last time, guys, from beautiful North Florida, I'm smashing big girls on poppers. It's Captain Mikey signing out. The future is bright. You keep those lines tight. You're still here? Get out there. Pop, 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 pop.